you know, all round, I think, good idea. Now, to start us off, we need to start off slow, with the basic stuff from Graham's early career, considering the way that queerness is used in his shows like Father Ted and Black Books, which nobody has made any comment on, so is there even anything there at all? So firstly, we have Father Ted, a show from the mid-90s, and Jesus Christ, that is so long ago, it's almost as old as I am, that is about a group of Catholic priests on an island in Ireland, and their attempts to keep the inhabitants in the fold and to go about doing their duty during a time period when the Catholic faith was getting a little strained due to all those scandals that, if anything, just kept getting worse and worse over the years. Basically, it's a punishment sentence being sent to Craggy Island for these priests, as each one did something that was considered improper for the others or was involved in some incident, although none of it was really that bad except for Father Jack, who is a serial sexual harasser of women and is played off as not such a big deal because he's an old pervert, and that's his character. Look, it was the 1990s, women were barely people in sitcoms written by men. And when I dug into Father Ted, I kind of hit the problem of there just being barely anything to talk about. And I do sort of see why nobody was asking me to make a video on them. The closest I could find to anything in Father Ted was a comment by a few of the older ladies on the island about watching The Crying Game, where they misgender the trans woman in the film because they thought they were a woman until the scene they revealed they had a penis, which makes them think they're a man, obviously.
We always go on Tuesdays. It gets us out of the house.
Oh, we saw a great one a few weeks ago, The Crying Game.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Oh, there was this great bit in it. You see, there was this girl, and then you find out it's not a girl, but a man.
And he got his lad out.
What? Yes, he got his lad out. Oh, you only see it for a second, but you get the message.
But that by itself isn't too different to other shows from that same time period, and it's two incredibly old people who absolutely would talk like that or think like that about something that they have no familiarity with, living on a rural farming island dominated by religion. Perfectly in character, and the show makes no comment itself on that particular insert. We are not, as an audience, directed to see this as behaviour we should emulate. It's just a story about a film that these elderly women saw. In Rockahula Ted, in an attempt to appeal to singer Naam Connolly, a parody of Sinead O'Connor, who you might recognise as ripping up a picture of the Pope on SNL and getting basically pariahed for the hot take of thinking that all the bad things the church did was bad and people should be noticing that, Father Ted gets caught up in this weird moment where the singer believes that a couple of dresses are for him midway through his speech about the island being more open-minded and willing to tolerate people's lifestyles. The joke being that it looks like he does cross-dressing.
Oh, I don't know, but I like the colour of this one. Oh, I just don't know.
Well, they're both great. I'm sure whichever one you pick, it'll be just lovely.
Thanks, Ted.
You see? All sorts of alternative lifestyles catered for.
Yet again, not that bad of a joke. And yes, it is kind of saying that the humour is him being perceived in a way that he is not, a way that presumably we are meant to think is strange or something that normally you'd be embarrassed by. But coming off of other shows and sitcoms at the same time, it's relatively not that transphobic. Would be a bit weird in a show right now, but hardly equivalent to the sort of vehement vitriolic transphobia one would expect from Graham Linehan. The episode that I assume people would take issue with more often is that of Are You Right There, Father Ted? The classic quotable one wherein Father Ted does an incredibly racist impression of a Chinese person, which gets seen by a Chinese family, and then rumor spreads around the island that he is a racist, which he tries to dispel in many failing ways as bad luck keeps catching up with him, and making him look like Hitler, or having a bunch of Nazi memorabilia around the house, or Father Jack dressed up in an SS uniform. It's well known for its scene involving a parishioner asking Ted, "So here you're a racist now, Father?" To which the answer is, kinda, sorta, yes?
I hear you're a racist now, Father. What? Flash grenade! That type of thing. Son of a racist. Everyone's saying it, Father.
Like, the whole episode is dedicated to this idea that Father Ted is not really a racist, He was just making a silly little foolish caricature that got taken poorly, and then he kept getting taken out of context and misinterpreted. But at its core, yeah, he was doing a racism, and the failure to acknowledge what that represents and what it encourages in his flock is a major character flaw. Actually seeing that story from that lens does make me think if that's how Graham Linehan sort of sees himself. Just someone who got criticised too harshly one time and then kept getting ragged on by people for all these things that were taken wildly away from their intended meaning, and so he had to begin openly attacking trans people all over the internet, directing hate towards them and joking about killing them, posting private pictures of their genitals to the public as part of mocking them. Yeah. Surely he must think he is still the good guy, or he'd be having some kind of horrifying revelation or epiphany right now about what he has done and where it has led him. Like that Nazi skit from Mitchell and Webb.
Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them? I don't know. Are we the baddies?
Anyways, Black Books comes to us a little later, starting 2 years after Father Ted ended in 2000, and running for another 4 years because British TV either ends so soon or drags on forever like Doctor Who or Coronation Street. I don't want to waste your time too much here on something that is even less relevant than Father Ted to understanding Graham Linehan, because there is basically nothing tied to trans people much at all. There are some queer jokes. I can think of one from Grapes of Wrath, where Fran believes that her date is actually gay because he seems too effeminate to be straight, which ends up kind of coming around to punish her in the karmic sense. I mean, a lot of Black Books is bad people being shitty and getting punished for it. The main characters remind me a lot of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in that regard. But yeah, there is no foundational transphobia or homophobia here to really build a strong case for the question that we're trying to answer. And so, why waste time here when we can jump straight to the meat of the discussion? And so we do jump forward another few years to the IT crap, of which there are a few elements that bear some mentioning, like the gay jokes that are made during Are We Not Men, where Moss begins forcibly kissing Roy as part of a ploy to avoid the police's suspicion for a robbery, and the work outing, which features Jen dating a guy named Philip, who everybody is sure is gay due to them doing a whole bunch of queer stuff like not kissing women or going to see a gay musical called Gay, though it's bloody hard to find non-gay musicals, so come on, that's barely a rainbow flag at all. And owning a gay magazine, all of which comes together with him admitting that he is gay, yes, and that he thought he could work with Jen because she looks kind of like a man. It's very lowbrow humor from the show and sort of one of its weakest episodes, honestly. And it is interesting that Graham Linehan would go to this watering hole of a guy being suspected to be gay by a woman they're on a date with twice. Odd that it happened more than once, though you could blame that on unoriginality, or you could blame it on the fact that Graham thinks this shit is hilarious. But those are the weak episodes for any kind of argument or attempt to get some background / introspection on Graham Linehan as a person. No. There's only one real essential that I want to consider and to analyze more in depth for the thesis of this video essay. And that is the explicit trans episode itself, the speech, which has an actual trans character and wherein the transness of that person is important and central to the secondary plot of the episode and the jokes made therein. So it all begins when Douglas Reynolds, played by the incomparable Matt Berry, a favourite actor of mine and thespian whose comedic stylings lend this strange, ridiculous gravitas to the characters that they play, who are often turned into these crazed versions of people anyway by the plot, and which he very much hands up, is interviewed by April Sheffield about his role as an incredibly rich person and CEO of Reynolds Industries. Which leads to a date, as April is attractive and Douglas is he's a bloody hound he is who will go after women on a regular basis, sometimes in creepy ways that involve roofies. Yeah, that's another one of those IT crowd episodes that aged really poorly, plot lines where Rohypnol is used to comedic effect by male comedy writers. Yikes. But back to the episode at hand. Matt takes April out on a date, only for her to reveal during it that she used to be a man, as Douglas is so hyper-focused on the having of sex. However, thanks to some issues on Douglas's end, he hears her as saying that she used to be from Iran.
I've had a lot of hormone therapy and a number of operations. I'm really sorry. I hope you don't feel I deceived you. I understand if you would rather.
Look around.
I don't care.
Also, there are some weird laughs played when she reveals that she used to be a man, first hinting towards some transphobia. The idea that the very notion of this revelation is a joke for the laugh track to play around. Remember that laugh tracks are used by sitcoms to direct to the audience when comedy is happening. They tell you from the writers themselves, here is where you should be thinking there is a joke. But thanks to that mishearing, Douglas is okay with the idea, not seeing an issue with dating someone who used to be from Iran, which to April makes him seem very progressive in comparison to the many men who have an issue with her being transgender. The many men who in the future will end up including Graham Linehan himself. Now, the activities that they get up to do kind of try to make April seem mannish, try to imply some inherent manliness because of what she is talented at or comfortable doing, like drinking beers or arm wrestling, because comedy is the lowest common denominator of laziness when it comes to minorities. This is all just played as kind of sexy to Douglas, so heck, you know, whatever works, right? Unfortunately, this all comes to a head when Douglas reveals that he's really enjoyed the day spent with April, expressing how it seems strange as he normally flees right after he ejaculates in a woman, but something seems different about her, about this. Like there's some kind of inherent relationship difference with dating a trans woman, and a woman that a poonhound's dick like the one Douglas has can tell the masculine energy difference of. Yeah, you can sort of sense the essentialism at play here. An essentialism that absolutely exists in many of our franchises around gendered groups, or transgender identities, because they were written by cis men who didn't bother thinking about or expanding their horizons on that front in regards to research or understanding. But the two reveal that they love each other, and everything seems pretty good and great, until Douglas also reveals that he thought she said Iran, and not a man, which April then swiftly corrects, to Douglas's great chagrin and horror. Douglas then freaks out and lets the fear of this discovery take over his affection that he's shown, which then ends with him breaking up with her over it.
Enemy taking Bravo. Alpha secure. You're in Bravo. Objective Bravo.
Him trying his best to make it clear that it isn't because she's transgender, but it also being very clear at the same time that it is because of that, as April begs him to reconsider, declaring that she is a woman. It's honestly kind of heartbreaking, right up until April punches him in the face, which leads to an all-out brawl in the Renom Labs. Violence of a sort which is, I guess, more okay from Douglas because we know that April is transgender. Finally, the episode ends with Douglas staring at the article that April wrote on him, calling him an asshole, and he starts crying when he realizes that it's not the same without April, that he made the wrong choice, and that he misses April, to the raucous cacophony of the laugh track.
But it's not the same.
And that's the episode. Now, this might be a weird take on all of this, one that might come as a shock to a few of you, but I don't think this is that bad. The laugh track and the places in which it is placed, the way that April is positioned as being masculine through her hobbies, and some of the violence from her towards Douglas is certainly something that definitely reflects transphobic attitudes or subconscious bigotry. But in a more general sense, this is not that much of a transphobic episode. The general theme of Douglas is that he is a bad guy who is not someone we should like. Every episode is him doing another scheme or terrible thing like that roofie shit. And the ending of him realizing his screw up over April does quite show this attitude that his own bigotry ruined one of the best relationships he had ever had with a woman. This would be quite the tale if it was separated from the sitcom setting that it's shoved into. And I certainly think that it's a far more sympathetic portrayal of a trans woman than in other shows like How I Met Your Mother or South Park. I know this isn't what people want me to say. People don't want me to conclude that something Graham Linehan did and wrote, something that is created by such a reviled transphobe, doesn't really reflect that much of a transphobia, or at least nowhere near as much as the current stance does. But that's just the facts. It's somewhat accurate. It doesn't make April out to be herself anything more than confident in who she is. She isn't tricking Douglas. In fact, she openly reveals it to him before they sleep together on the date. And the resolution is that Douglas screwed up. Oh, and she's also played by Lucy Montgomery, a cis woman, who, as we have covered, is not as great as having a trans woman played by a trans woman, but is still leagues better in what it says and portrays than having them played by a cis man. So that's the episode, and that's IT Crowd. Which brings us around to answering that big question, the one that started us down this road. The question that I am totally not falling for time here, and I try and remember desperately what the hell it was that I wrote. Right, the question of if we could use Graham Linehan's past to discover the secrets to why he became one of the supervillains of the trans community in the UK, and willingly destroyed his own life over his obsession with anti-trans activism to the degree that his career got nuked and his wife left him taking the kids.
Why have you got yourself mired in this? You're not a trans person, you're not a woman. Why have you made this your issue?
Well, the main reason is that women can't speak about this. Women like... I'll admit, I'm not a great person to be in this conversation. I'm a comedy writer.
And based on what we've discussed, what we've seen through Father Ted and Black Books and IT Crowd, I really don't think we can. While there are certainly uncomfortable moments in those comedies, jokes that don't really land, problematic content that targets minorities in a way that doesn't really say the progressive message that might have been intended, the overall theme is one that matches many other comedians and writers of the same time period. Many who went on to not become avid TERFs, and in fact tried to do better, like Seth MacFarlane, who initially responded poorly to the criticisms of trans representation in Family Guy, but has since included a pretty respectful and well-written piece of trans representation within The Orville. And what Graham Linehan wrote and created was nowhere near as openly toxic or vile as what Seth MacFarlane did. And yet one of them spiraled further and further into transphobia in response to criticism. If anything, Graham Linehan's career doesn't give us clues towards how he ended up. It doesn't give us a clear framework for warning signs and red flags. Or, at least, it doesn't give us that for searching people's past history in their content creation. While Graham's work might not be the solution to that question, the answer that we're searching for, it does mean and it does encourage us to look elsewhere because the transphobic roots are not there. An essential thing to understand about Graham Linehan is how much of his story mirrors another famous anti-trans celebrity, one who far outweighs him in wealth and fame and the protections afforded by that status, J.K. Rowling. Because both of them dealt with the same thing at different times, namely that they faced backlash and criticism from people for transphobia in their writings or actions. For Graham Linehan, it was when The Speech was rerun on TV in 2013, and was subsequently pulled after outrage about the transphobic elements that were present in it. Transphobic elements that Graham denied were indicative of any kind of transphobia in himself, which is a dangerous position to take. You should always be introspective about the bigotries that you might have that you don't recognize. That's the best way to evolve and change the person. If you think that you're perfect and fine and there's nothing wrong with you, that's more worrying. For J.K. Rowling, it was when she had her middle-aged moment of liking a TERF tweet that was defending a TERF for making her workplace a hostile environment for trans employees and trans customers. In both cases, the parties involved refused to see what they did as a problem, and because they didn't see the issue of their behaviour or downplayed it, and didn't see it as really a proper reflection of their attitudes, criticism of them came off as hatred and vindictive more than constructive. But, unlike Seth MacFarlane, rather than just cooling down and stepping away from the trans topic or issue for a bit, instead, both were courted by TERFs due to this backlash. A great video to check out about this is Kaylin Conrad's series about TERFs and their recruitment habits. And it's very fascinating to consider it in regards to its relation to both cults and online alt-right groups. Both find those who've been isolated via some event during their life that caused them to feel attacked or hurt, and then they love-bombed them or engaged in positively propping them up, telling them that they weren't wrong, that in fact it was the haters who were wrong. And also, here are more studies and surveys and content taken out of context that reassure the points or fears that you expressed and in fact inflame them, in fact encourage worse ideas. They are courted and coaxed, and it works especially well when your ego has been hurt by your identity being called into question. In this case, both Graham Linehan and J.K. Rowling's allyship or stance of the queer community from trans people. And with that pushing, with that support from people who are enabling the worst attitudes that you have, because they see you as a target to obtain for their movement, you slip up again. You say something else transphobic, and the backlash gets bigger, which leads to more positivity from those groups encouraging you. It's like this perfect feedback cycle, where nobody likes to hear negative things about themselves, nobody likes to take criticism, especially when they think they're in the right, and so they start self-isolating, listening more and more to the people who only affirm them, who provide no counterpoints at all, and dismissing all the voices in contrast as haters, or the enemy, or part of the problem, or bought figures, or in some big conspiracy, or secret puppeteering, or tricked by something behind the scenes. Whatever it is, all those people against you are villains and victims and not worth your time. And so you keep posting things. You keep saying and doing the stuff that gets the group who have your back to cheer for you. And damn the consequences, because everyone likes having cheerleaders who do their best to shield you from considering the criticism levied at you. And eventually, after you're isolated from anyone with a difference in opinion, when you've ruined your image and who you are to the point that the only group who will accept you is that group, then you have no way to go back. At that point, you're suck it in, and there's no escape. Whatever that group wants to become your life, becomes your new identity. Your wife could leave you, your bosses and your co-workers could stop engaging with you, your friends and the people you used to love could walk away, and you would just think they've been compromised, that they're too scared to speak the truth. The scary thing about the Graham Linehan story, and the J.K. Rowling one by proxy, is not that he was always this massive transphobe, and that was where he was going to end up, is as clear as day, but that it wasn't always obvious, that he could have gone a very different direction, but that this honestly pretty normal comedy writer who was kind of progressive, but not really that progressive, like a lot of cis straight white men, you know, they vote left, but they don't really care about all the minorities enough to try and get involved in understanding them at a ground level. This man was transformed by a group of people who came to his side to use him in the long term as a celebrity for their movement, into an aggressive and unrecognizable extremist whose hatred of trans people dwarfs any other part of who he used to be.
But has stepping in made the debate any better? I mean, a lot of people say that the language you've used, some of the dismissive terms that you've bandied about have actually increased the toxicity of this debate.
Can you give me an example?
Yes, you can. Yeah, I'll give you several if you want. So, what about comparing people in the trans debate to speaking out against Nazis? I mean, that's pretty extreme.
Well, there's a couple of parallels. One is that at the moment, children are basically being experimented on with puberty blockers. For instance,
come on, you're not seriously trying to say that children going to the doctor and saying that they're worried about their gender is akin to children being experimented on in Nazi concentration camps?
I'm afraid I am.
It's like he got hit by that oil from Prometheus. Wait, nobody watched that. It's like he got hit by that oil from Phyrexia. Wait, that's not a universal pop culture reference either. Think, I've watched so much. It's like he got naughted by Xenonaut. Yeah, everyone knows that one. And that, I think, is the true lesson here. The true thing to take away. a lot of people, regular people with basic flaws and subconscious bigotries, can very easily be targeted and pushed into signing up for these groups. Well, they end up thinking they've become part of a trans war, and they lose all ties to reality and to having an identity outside of that. It could happen to almost everybody, and there is no clear way of seeing it until the problems start popping up, until a person starts taking criticism the wrong way, and having it be used to slowly twist them into echo chambers that reflect the worst parts of them back at themselves for encouragement. So that's the big conclusion to the question, that Graham Linehan and who he became is not so easily read within the work that he did, and it's more of a reflection of the darker path that one can take when faced with criticism for the actions or writing that you engaged with. I think it's important to remember that, because it would be easy to act as if he was always this transphobic, that all the stuff that he ever made is filled with who he is right now, and not that the comedy he did is mostly fine. A little bit low-hanging, and a little bit sometimes making bad episodes filled with very, very awkward comedy, like that time that they made fun of a man getting sexually harassed. Yeah, that's an IT Crowd episode that honestly should be way more remembered for how terrible it was than the trans one. Liking the IT Crowd or Black Books or Father Ted doesn't make you a transphobe, like Graham Linehan, because those shows themselves didn't make him a transphobe. The criticism of him didn't make him a transphobe either. It was his own choices and the encouragement of transphobic groups who wanted to recruit him into their own personal war, funded by right-wing organizations out of America, that pushed Graham Linehan to be who he is today. And the person who is being most punished for those choices is actually, it's kind of a toss-up between the trans women that he harasses and directs hate towards, to the cheers of the frankly vile and blood-baying crowd that he has become inextricably linked to, and Graham himself. Because he killed his career. He killed his marriage. He has become like Douglas Reynolds at the end of the speech, a sad man crying in his bed alone, forced into this by the bigotry that he allowed to ruin the good things in his life. Don't be like Graham. And also, keep your eyes peeled for when a celebrity starts having the same thing happen, when they get criticised and immediately surrounded by sycophants who support everything they say and push them to say even more bigoted stuff and protect their ego from any tarnishing. Because that's how it starts. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this video or that you enjoyed what you watched. If you are Graham himself, like, dude, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to realize that what you're doing is madness, that you've been consumed by hatred for a single group to an unhealthy level. I'm not even saying here that you've got to flip to being pro-trans. Just get different hobbies. Unlink yourself from those turf groups for a bit and try and live a life outside of that frankly cult that has taken over. I don't know if you'll listen, and actually knowing what I know about cults, you probably won't, because that's part of how they work. I mean, look at Scientology. I'm very clear here that Scientology is not a cult. Can they actually get me? They are a cult. They're a horrifying cult that I think has been involved in the cover-up of, like, murders and stuff. So, you know, screw Scientology as well as, you know, the turfs. But, look, Graham, give it a shot. For a few months. Not for me. Not for the trans people of the UK, well, that would help a lot. But for yourself. Just see what it's like. Just take a step back. Don't think about. Don't engage with. Don't look at anything that's linked to the trans issue or whatever, or debate or whatever you want to call it. Step back from the trans war. Just, you know, try and be yourself again. Because maybe the wife will come back. Regardless, if you really like what I've done and want to do more than just liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting about how this channel deserves more views, because I get it, I also think I deserve more views too, then you can support me financially by going to my Patreon or Ko-Fi. It's really valuable for helping me to pay for the essentials of living, the essentials that allow me to make these videos at such an alarming rate without having to worry about food, housing, and electricity. All the things that I need to be able to keep fighting the trans war in the trenches. The names of those who do support me and support the right side during this brutal combat should be flying past the screen right now. God bless these brave warriors for their contributions to the effort, and I cannot keep this bit up, because it's ridiculous to refer to it like this. It's ridiculous to call it a trans war. It's almost as bad as calling it the trans debate. Like, what kind of imagery are we trying to evoke here? One that makes trans people into literally, like, enemies, or into something that we can, like, toss words over and around? Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day. Even you, Graham. I hope that you have a great day away from Twitter. Just step back for a bit. Don't look at any of that stuff. Just go outside. Go hang out with some friends that aren't going to just talk to you about only trans stuff. Go hang out with other friends. Get into something like Magic the Gathering. It's a fun hobby. There's also turfs in that too, so you can collect some turf cards as well. God, you just can't get away from it, can you?
Hostile UAV in the area.
Loading!
Crowd.
So, like, he still pretends he's a feminist standing against misogynists and the 4chan trolls, but, like, it's obviously clear from this, he's more aligned with them than not. Like, this is his tribe now. Can I also say I hate weird little white people being like, this is tribalism. These are tribes. Like, no.
I prefer sectarianism.
These are your mutuals on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a fucking tribe. Shut up. When Anita Sarkeesian tweeted, feminism is about equality, justice, and liberation. If you don't support the rights of trans people or access to abortion, or don't support efforts like Black Lives Matter or workers' rights, as just a few examples, you are not a feminist. Graham replied with,
"What's this male pandering shite? I didn't support you during Gamergate so you could give women's rights away to another group of men."
And okay, so like this.
I love this conditional transactional.
Yes, and this
feminism.
is such a common fucking attitude. This is like, men who claim to be feminists are all on fucking thin ice with me because it is transactional, it is conditional, and it is like if you as a feminist recognize that your rights are fundamentally intertwined with the rights of other marginalized people, I can withdraw my conditional support for feminism, then like, sorry, you were never a feminist to begin with. Shut the fuck up. Like,
he just wanted somebody to bully on Twitter and to get retweets for it. And that's the exact same person he is now. He's just realized that it's a lot easier to get away with bullying marginalized people. So Anita, trans women are women, and he replies attacking her, which is a little bit hypocritical because he also likes to tweet things like,
"Lord, give me the confidence of white men telling women who is and isn't a woman."
I wonder who that's for.
When called out on this by people being like, "Babe, Graham, my little cracker, that's you," he replied,
"Citation, please."
Oh my god, I really hope that he was like, "I'm not white, I'm Irish."
No, the citation was, I don't even know what citation he could be asking for.
I'm not white, I'm Irish.
Oh, that's honestly the only thing, I guess. He's like, I'm actually half troll on my mother's side, so.
Okay, to be fair, he is marginalized for that.
He is like a walking jump scare. Like, I'd really like to follow him around for a day with a camera through like a crowded mall and just see how many people are like, yeah, how am I not a feminist? Citation, please. It's like, my source is your divorce papers, page 12, line 13, that you won't shut your little bobble-headed mouth. Straight, gender-critical men love having an excuse to attack feminists and LGBTQ plus people. Like, when Jamila I know. Nobody attacks women and queer people or like gay people more than gender critical people. and they do it with such condescension. The amount of times I've had like cishet men tell me that I'm homophobic. And I'm like, me? Me? I'm homophobic. So when Jamila Jamil came out as queer in 2020, because she was the host, one of the hosts on Legendary. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Yeah, and most of the people on it, most of the judges were like queer Black people. Right. But she did get pushback, both because she wasn't Black, but also because they were like, we're gonna let this like straight woman do this. And she was like, fuck off, fine. Like, I'll say it, I'm queer. Like, is that what you needed? You needed to out me?
I hate
for me.
I hate that we keep having to like fucking out celebrities or speculate about them.
Back in the day when there was no queer people on TV, there was no queer representation, and the like 2 roles every year went to straight people, not because they were the best for the job, but because straight people wouldn't go watch gay people playing gay.
Right.
Like when Philadelphia came out, it would have been super dope and nobody would have watched it if the actor was an out gay man, right? But like that's not the case anymore. There are so many amazing out queer actors, so many great roles written for queer people that I don't think we're at that point anymore.
Right.
And we're definitely not needing to out people. Like they forced Kit Connor to out himself.
Yeah.
In Heartstoppers, they forced the woman who wrote Love, Simon out of the closet. Like, so ridiculous. And the people doing this often are, I think, like younger online queer people, which I get where they're coming from. Like, I honestly do. I just don't think we're at that point anymore. And I think it's like a holdover.
I totally get wanting to have like queer people tell their own stories, especially when there's like a shortage of that kind of thing. As an actor in particular, I also like think that all actors should have a right to privacy. And like this isn't even about like outing people who are in the closet.
You shouldn't have to come out for your job.
Yeah, actors shouldn't have to. Yeah, actors shouldn't have to say anything that goes on in their private lives if they don't want to. And I think like it's part of kind of like celebrity culture a little bit that you feel entitled to know who
absolutely
they are dating. Like,
yeah, Jamila came out, and like J.K. Rowling, Graham lives for the opportunity to speak over LGBTQ+ people. And he tweeted,
"How is Jamila Jamil not ashamed of herself? This is appropriation."
To which she said, "I'm a queer person, you're a twat. This is how we both identify."
Yes, bitch.
And he said,
"Lol, you're a straight tourist."
You don't get to say that because you actually are straight, Graham. You don't get to say shit like tourist. Fuck off. Oh my God.
Wild how
I hate this man.
Fucking entitled and loud and privileged, and like the idea that he is ever standing up for anyone when all he does is speak over the groups he claims to be standing up for is so infuriating, and why there's an episode on this, because I fucking hate it so much.
Why do you care? Because you clearly don't care about
because he
queer
wants
people.
someone to bully.
Like, you are homophobic.
It's just an excuse to be homophobic, to attack women with the cover of being morally correct. Everyone who calls him out for his misogyny or homophobia or transphobia is a troll to him. And
sorry, calling someone a troll when you look like you live under a bridge is like, that is a bold move.
No, I love it.
It's a bold strategy.
I actually love it. You think you could just say that? You think you could just say the T word because you're half troll on your father's side? You think that's intersectionality? His favorite slur to use against women is handmaiden, which is something I'm sure you've seen this, like handmaid of the patriarchy.
Yeah,
that's where it originally came from, which is like feminists It was a term that like radical feminists used to describe women who were upholding the patriarchy and standing against the aims of feminism. But a man using it is a little fucking weird and incredibly misogynistic because it's saying that women can't think for themselves.
And I honestly assumed that gender critical people used the term handmaiden because they'd all heard of The Handmaid's Tale for the first time when Hulu did a TV show about it.
That is what happened. No, that is what happened. So it's actually handmaiden. That's the original term, handmaiden of the patriarchy. But all the gender critical people say handmaid.
Say handmaid. Yeah.
And then they'll be like, yeah, they're the handmaid. Or really, they're Aunt Lydia. I'm like, that's not from The Handmaid's Tale, right? And you calling someone a handmaid is you being like, you're against feminism because you are imprisoned and raped and forcibly impregnated, you little bitch. And it's like, well, I don't... Have you even watched it? Because the handmaids are not the bad guys. The people attacking the handmaids are the bad. No?
Right. So no. I mean, I think I've only watched the first season. Not to be like a little gatekeepy, but I was a little salty that suddenly everybody was like, The Handmaid's Tale. Have you heard of this thing called The Handmaid's Tale in 2017? I was like, yeah?
Like 40 years ago?
Yeah. Have you heard of this? Have you heard of a little story? Kaylin, I don't know if you've heard of this. Called 1984.
I'm like, I've heard tell. I've seen it in tweets. I'm the wrong person to ask on this, and you know it.
This is just like The Handmaid's 1984.
So anytime a woman disagrees with him, he'll call them a handmaiden. If you search like from @Glinner, because that's his Twitter handle for everyone, handmaid, and scroll, it's just a sea of him harassing women. Yeah.
Is it because handmaidens like yourself keep reporting her because of your worship of men in wigs?
He'll even occasionally lash out at J.K. Rowling, which is wild because usually she's like boot deep in his mouth. Like he's tweeting with like her full fucking boot in there.
Team deathmatch.
So he originally wanted to make...
Honestly, I don't say this about JKR a lot, but like, it's nice to get your boots licked clean every once in a while.
So she's, as far as I can tell, she's never actually acknowledged him, which is very funny.
That's so embarrassing.
I know. He's such a little simp for her.
That is really embarrassing.
But he lets his bitterness out sometimes. So like after the Father Ted musical deal fell through, because Graham was too vile to touch with a 10-mile pole, he
I really wanted to do a musical. That's so embarrassing.
This was his big comeback. This was his big return.
Not everything should be a musical. Can we stop it? Not everything should be.
Yeah, no, nobody needs a Father Ted the musical. That's just write something new. So he was rage posting on his Substack about how he got an automated Christmas card from the would-be producer that had backed out. And at the end of this post...
That's iconic on the producer's part. Just sending like a mass email to everyone you don't care about.
Yeah. This is the post.
Thanks, Sonia. Look who forgot to take me off her Christmas card list. Isn't this thoughtful? Sonia is one of the West End's biggest producers and was supposed to be doing the Father Ted musical. I get a Christmas card, but no musical, because Sonia agrees with J.K. Rowling, but not with me, or something. I guess I'd rather have my musical produced, but I guess we'll hash it out in court. Thanks also to J.K. Rowling for all the behind-the-scenes work she's been doing for me.
Which makes it sound like Joanne might have been helping him pay for like legal fees or whatever, because she does that sometimes. But no, the comment show, he was just being bitter on me. So someone responds with, "That's fantastic to hear that JKR is helping you out with the legal wrangling. Bon chance, Graham." And he responds,
"Sadly, I'm being sarcastic."
why should she pay to have your fucking shitty, weird musical made?
Back to my comment about holding a grudge makes you a difficult person to work with when you're in the arts. I don't know the details of the Father Ted musical. This is the first time hearing of it. But like productions, especially musicals, because there's an enormous amount of overhead on them, are very difficult to get funding for, even if you have like big celebrities attached.
Oh, it would have happened if he wasn't anti-trans.
Would it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, 100%.
So she pulled out because he's anti-trans.
Yeah, like, but anti-trans and untouchable. Like, I think she supported Joanne's right to free speech or whatever, but Graham is on Twitter, like, stalking and harassing people. Like, it's like if you
So she
scroll
was like,
through
"This
his
is
feed,
this is a liability. I can no longer."
oh, 100%.
Okay.
Like attaching a. And like you said, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of moving parts. We need to get a lot of things involved and improved.
Things fall through for any reason.
Yeah, especially with investors. One quick look at that, they decide, oh, I should look at the person who's making. What's Graham up to?
Right, and people.
And then
pull
they go
out.
to his and then people go to his page, and it's photos of
and posting
shirtless children.
Posting to your Substack about how angry you are about it is one way to ensure that nothing you ever do will get funded again.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing you're mad about is that she sent you a Christmas card.
In the darkest streets where sunlight dies, a huge gross monster called the Glinner. Eyes, a melted eye drips down his cheek. He lurks in alleys, rotting in heat. His teeth fried as piss. His breath foul and rank. Cries in the darkness like God's cruelest prank. The Glinner, make you this Glinner. In the dead of night, beware, dear girl, stay out of sight and save yourself from the Glinner's bite. The Glinner, he'll make you his dinner. The Glinner, he'll make you his dinner. He fears the water and the salt's bright gleam. He burns and he can't get clean. He roams the darkness forever alone. His mournful cries take a chill in tongue. Dead of night, let your gaze stay outside. We know you can stop on the Glinner's mind. People sleep to the Glinner's wail. For in his heart there's sorrow's veil. He longs for his family. Lost long ago, lost to his obsession with trans people.
So after all this, he still blames trans people for literally everything that's ever happened to him. Taking his family.
Possibly be my fault.
I'm gonna send you a video in a second, which is one of my favorites.
He's so Elliot Rodger coded.
Yeah, no, this is full incel.
Yeah.
It's trans activists' fault. And trans activists are trans people, handmaidens, and the majority of gays and lesbians and bisexuals. If you look at every polling, like the people who support trans people, predominantly women. And then if you look like within, not like LGBT people, because obviously trans people support trans people. But if you look like in like LGBT people, it's lesbians who are the highest supporters of trans people. So,
Well, what you need to understand, Kaylin, is all of those people that you just mentioned are tourists.
oh, right. Right.
Those lesbians are just taking a nice long vacation in Pussy Town.
Yeah.
Because of the trans activists.
Yeah, they're scissoring as trans activists. They're dedicating their entire lives to
Political scissoring.
Okay, that's so based. Maybe I do like political lesbianism now. It's just some of the worst political lesbians are like rabid TERFs, like Julie
TERFs,
Binkle.
yeah.
That it's like the kind of people who are like, you can't just decide to identify as a woman. And I'm like, why not? You decided to identify as a lesbian.
Yeah.
So obviously, his family has no agency. This is all trans people's fault. Every entitled, hateful, ugly-hearted man thinks it's someone else's fault that he lost everything.
Time.
Yeah. And often, that's not the case. We all have like some part to play in like the dissolution of friendships and relationships. And to anyone that tells you that they are blameless is lying, or like to you or themselves or both.
Men who wake up and murder their entire families think this way too.
Oh, 100%. Nothing's ever their fault. And especially like men on the right. Like, I don't have a job because of immigrants. Like, no matter what it is, it's always somebody else's fault. He swings back and forth between licking the ground Joanne walks on and being bitter she isn't grateful for his manly protection. And sidebar, here are my 2 favorite quotes from him about Joanne. J.K. Rowling's socialist credentials are impeccable.
What does he think socialism means?
Billionaire. Billionaire who aligns herself with Nazis is a socialist. I can't even deal with that. The next one's so much funnier. We need to get to it. This is the one I've been waiting for you to hear for like a week.
Oh my God.
People make a big deal out of Harry Potter turning on her, but every single character in that series came from her head. She is Harry. She's not just Harry, she's Hermione and Ralph.
Everyone's favorite Harry Potter character, Ralph. You remember Ralph from Harry Potter?
Ralph!
I love to be going to Universal Studios Hollywood and getting my picture taken with Harry, Hermione, and Ralph.
Ralph! Hashtag I stand with J.K. Rowling.
Hashtag I stand with... Oh...
I didn't add the hashtag. That's actually there. Ralph!
And Ralph. Hashtag I stand with J.K. Rowling. Oh my God. He is such a fucking embarrassing lolcow.
I know. Okay, I'm about to send you, or I am sending you a video. This video has gone around a lot. This is Graham explaining what happened to his family.
Okay, I can't wait to watch it.
You say you're going to, you've decided to fight this, but it must feel like a lonely place and it must hurt and it must mess you up.
Yeah. They took everything from me,
Like what? What do you mean?
They took my family, Before this, all I was doing was, writing comedy and playing board games and being silly on the internet. And then I just said, no, hang on a sec. Stop calling these women TERFs. Stop sending them abuse. Let them speak. And for that, they just destroyed me.
Do you honestly feel destroyed?
No, because the one thing about this that keeps me going is that I know I'm right, I know I'm right.
Okay, a few things here. I haven't watched this. I've intentionally avoided watching this video, but it's passed around a lot, and I've seen like lots of people dunking on him, saying like they took everything from me. That part actually, now that I've actually seen it, it doesn't like inspire mirth in me. It doesn't inspire joy in me. I feel like I'm watching someone who is incredibly deluded, like someone who is like, not mentally well, and has like been so like indoctrinated into this like online cult that like his grasp of reality is not as strong as it should be. And I know I'm right every single time thing. He just keeps reiterating the fact that he knows that he's right. And I feel like that's very telling about specifically like this, not just like a gender critical person, but like this kind of conservative man is very like, I'm right, progress is wrong, everyone around me is wrong, and I just need to keep digging my heels in and kind of like bullishly imposing my will on the marginalized people around me because I know what's best.
Yeah,
but I
know
always
what's best for
have.
them. There are times where I think that one small clip of they took my family is like just that sound bite. I find that funny because like sometimes when my cat leaves the room to go get his food, I just mumble that to myself. I'm like, he's gone. They took everything from me. They took my family. He is so, like, you hit it perfectly. He's so Delulu. He, like most gender critical people, and for anyone that's like new to me and this channel, check out my gender critical series. I spent like, I think 8 months undercover in their gender critical Facebook groups, or private ones, before I had like released my full 3-part series. But there's a big thing in there of gender critical people talking about how they lost their families because they can't shut the fuck up about trans people, like at the dinner table, at meetings, at work. Like they'll be like at the playground with their kids on the swing or whatever, and none of the other parents will talk to them. Because the last time they tried, they were like, oh, it's so nice to see kids playing like on the play structure instead of getting their healthy breast tissue removed. Like, it is an obsession. It is an obsession that is ruining their lives. It is an addiction. But they all believe, and they have to believe this in order to keep going on, that there will be a day of reckoning. There will be one final big thing that happens where the truth is finally revealed that they were right all along, and everybody will come back and have to apologize. That all the ex-wives and the ex-husbands will eventually return, and the children that don't talk to them anymore because they forced them into conversion therapy will come back and say, I can tell that you were right all along and I'm sorry. But that's never going to happen.
Right.
That's just, it's never going to happen. Your family's not coming back. At the very best, your children, in an attempt to find some like peace in their life, might like, I don't know, decide no contact isn't necessary and agree to like send you a text message on Christmas or whatever or come home for Christmas because they want to see their sister or something and it's worth it to them as long as you agree to stop talking about trans stuff or like stuff like that happens. But it is very, very rare that someone goes like full no contact with their anti-trans family member and then shows back up, according to the groups. The blaming other people, the thinking that people are going to come back, it's never, one of the reasons it's never going to happen is because they don't change. And when they do change, they get worse. They get like farther and farther into, like we've all seen Joanne's fucking slide down the alt-right pipeline from I'd march with you if you were discriminated against, which I still think is like, was just completely backhanded and intentionally fucking hateful.
If you were discriminated against.
Yeah, no trans person has ever been discriminated against.
Yeah. The most privileged category of person. Trans.
But like, they never stop talking about it. And it becomes their entire world. So let me give you a quote from Graham explaining the final nail in the coffin of the Father Ted musical.
The final scene in the terrible downward spiraling drama that was the end of the musical was a meeting with Jimmy in the Hattrick offices. He made me travel from Norwich to London, so, like a sap, I presumed it would be good news, a plan on how we were to move forward, while I carried on raising my voice on a crucially important issue. But no, there were dirty looks from Hattrick employees I had known and worked with for years, and when we finally sat across from each other, Jimmy and a lawyer from Hattrick on one side and my agent and I on the other, Jimmy told me I was to remove my name from Father Ted the Musical, or he would not make the show. I've never experienced anything like the coldness and contempt with which I was treated at that meeting. Once again, I asked what I was being accused of. Jimmy rolled his eyes as if it was self-evident. Once again, at this final meeting, desperately, I tried to explain what was happening to women's rights and to the young girls mutilating themselves because of... I don't care! Jimmy shouted.
And that was the end.
Good.
Yeah. The idea that you're going to be sitting in your meeting for a musical that you're trying to get made, and they're like, we need you to take your name off because you won't stop talking about trans people, and being like, but the healthy breast tissue.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about breasts at your business meeting?
Yeah.
What the
You
fuck?
are impossible to work with.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
it
toxic.
would be just as weird. Well, not just as weird, but I mean, the outcome would probably be the same if you were like this foaming at the mouth about like a sports team or something. If you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When it's all you ever talk about ever, and when you get into like very public arguments with people in the press, yeah, they're gonna ask you to.
And in the industry,
yeah,
like nobody wants to work with someone who's difficult to work with in any regard. That's just a universal truth. Nobody wants to work with someone who makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about trans people. They want to talk about work.
Yeah, that's why Jimmy said, I don't care.
Yeah. And obviously Graham portrays it as like he doesn't care about women and girls or whatever, but like, and maybe Jimmy doesn't. But that also has nothing to do with Father Ted the Musical.
Yeah, I would bet
which
Jimmy
I might add
doesn't care.
I don't
bet he
think
doesn't care
Jimmy...
about trans rights or women's rights. He's just trying to produce a fucking musical.
Yeah, this is the thing. They still wanted to pay him. They were going to pay him $200,000 to get this musical made. And at this point, he's fucking destitute. But he refuses it anyways.
So what I'm hearing is trans activists did not take his career. He still had a career and refused it.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. It's wild. This is why I'm saying, like, it's one thing to be like, trans activists took my career because they boycotted me and that got something shut down or whatever. But it's like, no, they were still willing to give him $200,000, which is like what the average trans person makes in like 200,000 years. But no.
I rejected the deal. I was prepared to betray myself for £200,000, but I couldn't abandon my daughter.
Nobody asked you to. And in fact, I believe you don't have custody, so we don't need to worry about that, Queen. I think like 2 years after that, he also lost his agent because he called David Tennant a groomer on Twitter.
Jesus Christ.
For wearing a pin or a shirt. Yeah. No, I believe it was a pin that said like support trans kids or something.
Mm-hmm.
David Tennant has the same agent. Or sorry, Graham had the same agent as David Tennant.
Oopsie
And let's be real.
doopsie.
Who are you going to choose? A father, respected, husband, respected, artist and celebrity, respected, or like a sad little man who lives in a, no offense, but studio apartment somewhere, seething over trans people.
Please join my Patreon so that I don't have to live in a studio apartment like Graham Linehan.
Yes, if you want to support women, the way to do it is by signing up for the Respect the Dead Patreon account.
It'll be in the description.
Not my Patreon, which is attached to my channel, the Respect the Dead one, because Hoots was nice enough to let me do another transphobe that was alive because I got angry. And she's an ally.
I am an ally. A handmaid, one would say.
So his retelling of events is always dangerously wrong, but luckily nobody read his book. So like That's fine.
There were
It's like,
300 purchases. And like of those, I think you were the person who read it.
Oh yeah. I don't think
it was you.
I don't think most people read it. And oh my God, I started with the audiobook. I think I told you this. I made it like halfway and I was like, I cannot listen to his whiny little divorced voice.
For such a
I ended
big
up having
man,
to read
he's such a nasally small voice.
All the angry,
he sounds like me.
Gender critical. All the angry gender critical people sound like Muppets. Like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, like all of the men.
Oh my God,
they sound like fucking Muppets.
They need voice training.
That's true.
If they could just make friends with a few trans people, they could really hook them up.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. It's just like when like really homophobic people appear on television and you're like, oh, you know that stylist fucked her up good on purpose.
Yeah.
I think the quote you're about to hear is the best summation of the way that he lies about what happened and about what's happening.
Both sides is a poisonous smear. No one on my side of the argument insists that people should be shunned by polite society.
Can I just point out that he retweets libs of TikTok?
I was about to say, then who the fuck is Kaya Reichek?
Yeah.
Be banned from speaking and have their livelihood destroyed. We disagree with trans rights activists. That's it. Whenever you see an anonymous Twitter account belonging to a TERF, check their timeline. You won't find any abuse. You'll hardly find any bad language.
Like, this is what you do every week.
This is what they do.
Yeah. This is
The
what
bomb
you
threats?
personally do, Graham.
Yeah, oh, 100%. Nobody is more against actual free speech than gender critical people.
Yeah.
Like, somebody refers to a woman as a human being, as a person, and they fucking shit themselves. Like, you just erased that saying trans woman erases their speech, erases the existence of women altogether. Like, they're gonna blip out of existence because
they really don't know how adjectives work. Or pronouns.
Yeah, they were rapidly running out of like.
They really need to just go back to English class.
Yeah, for all of them being like, I remember grade 1 biology, and I'm like, do you remember grade 1 English?
Yeah.
And also, did we ever make it past that, or are we comfy here? Are we settling in? But also, like, I'm sorry, go to a TERF account, check their timeline, you won't find any abuse. I've had TERFs call me a faggot, tell me I need to be shut up permanently, say I deserved the violent homophobic hate crime I went through, question it, say that it would have been better off if they'd killed me. I've had them say I enjoyed being raped because they assumed I was a trans woman, which meant that I would enjoy being subjugated by a man because it would make me feel like a woman. And the only people that men ever sexually assault are women, of course. Tell me to kill myself, say I should be castrated, eradicated. The amount of times that I've been called at least like 12 different slurs in the past couple weeks on Twitter alone for saying that like J.K. Rowling was a terrible person and a shit writer is astronomical. And I can guarantee I have been called more hateful things than Graham Linehan ever will, because the things that they're saying about me are just slurs. They're not true, like your divorce. Like, Graham is out there calling gay men groomers every single fucking week. But that's not abuse, because it's just true. Gay people are inherently predatory groomers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not abuse because it's true. And his side, it's always like side, like we were talking about earlier. Like, it's like, well, my side doesn't do any of the bad stuff. It's only the people on the left doing the bad stuff.
But his side are the ones calling in bomb threats to elementary schools.
His side are the ones denying Nazi crimes, that have Nazis show up at their rallies. He even had some quote in his book that was like, I'm confident now that I know what I would have done in like Nazi Germany. I know I would have been on the right side. And I'm like,
the Nazi?
The Reich side, maybe. Like,
I think we all know what you would have done in Nazi Germany, Graham. I don't think that is a question that anyone is asking.
no, because we see it right now. So in his book, he leaves out every instance of his obsessed, deranged harassment and online stalking of trans people, women, gays, feminists, people of color, and instead lists off a bunch of mean things people have said to him in order to garner. And we're gonna hear some of them now because they're really funny and true.
I can't wait.
I'm regularly called a Nazi sympathizer, Holocaust denier, COVID denier, and climate change denier.
Why?
Are there things in that list that you haven't denied?
Yeah, I've never done any of that, and I've never been called any of that, actually. I've actually never been called any of those things. Because I've never done any of those things.
Yeah.
And that's not to say you only get called online about like things that you do, but like I get called homophobic and transphobic slurs, and he gets called Holocaust denier.
Yeah.
Someone takes a photo of me sitting outside a cafe, posts it on Christmas Day, and tells people I'm there at Christmas because I've lost my family.
It's so funny.
It's so good.
Oh, the cheese grater thing. So the photo, somebody saw him at a Tesco or whatever, and he was buying everything to make a carbonara, but like probably like about like one serving. And he even had to get the pan and the cheese grater. So that's how it's circulated.
The cooking tool.
Yeah, his wife took the cheese grater as a divorce. And this Steam account, somebody realized that they had been friends on Steam with him and saw that the games that he was playing for like babies and called him out. And he was like, actually, like, oh, like that's on the computer in like my home. And I don't have a home anymore because my wife did. So that must be my son. But good job making fun of the games my son plays.
These are baby games for the baby I'm no longer allowed to see.
I think it was like a pretty violent baby game though. Like I think it was kind of fucked up. I don't remember what the game was. I'll probably add it into the edit, but I do think it was like kind of weird.
Trans activists tweet about dancing and pissing on my grave, adding that my ex-wife and children will piss on my grave too.
Here at Respect the Dead.
That might have been us, first of all.
Okay, you know what? I'll own that one. This one's Kalen's.
Also, like, just going back to Elliot Rodger, you don't have to put this in the book. Like, you don't have to tell us.
Yeah, you don't need to tell us that somebody said that you were divorced, so you went into your room and cried and thrashed it about and started stabbing the wall with your practice sword or whatever the fuck. Like, this one's really funny.
When the feminist YouTuber, Magdalene Burns, is dying of a brain tumor at the age of just 36, my visit to her is surrounded by so much vicious gossip that I have to interrupt the family's grieving to ask them to release a statement refuting it.
What? So sorry, like, vicious, usually when like people say vicious gossip, they mean like tabloids, but this is just like people on Twitter.
Yeah.
You did not have to ask the family to release a statement to Twitter. And actually, like, obviously I'm no Magdalene Burns fan, but that's like a really fucked up thing to ask her grieving family to do. Could you please release a statement to my Twitter haters? No.
Getting up in the middle of the funeral and being like, hey, so, ooh, I know this is a little bit awkward, but I think we need to focus on me just for a little smidge. Which, like, if anyone else,
a co-tweet if you want to. We can do a co-tweet if you want to.
It's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to say something because people are being really mean to me on Twitter. I've been reading all of the tweets about me during the funeral. Like that's fucking wild.
Yeah,
Were you
that
raised
is-
in a barn?
Again, like unhinged, delusions of grandeur, like thinks that all of this is like way more, like thinks that his Twitter beefs are way more important. Like,
Oh, yeah.
He's treating them like significant cultural events.
It's like Magdalene would have wanted you to say that I was a feminist.
You are not missing Princess Kate Middleton. You know, you don't have to release a statement because Twitter is losing its mind. Nobody cares about you.
All of this would have been solved by him logging the fuck off.
Fuck off.
And getting a giant troll fist full of grass. Taking a
That
walk
grass
in the
is
sun.
calling your name.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Walk
feel
out
the
from
breeze
under the
on
bridge.
Your big ugly face.
Take that face out for a walk. Pick up your spirits in your right eye, and let's go have a moment where we're not online. And I need to do this too.
Oh, me too.
100%.
Yeah.
Maybe
the fact
we'll
that
all
I even know who
we'll
Graham
start a group
Linehan
chat.
is.
No, I know.
The fact that I know who Graham Linehan is a sign that I need to go outside. Because I will tell you right now, if I were to walk out that fucking door and I were to go ask someone, just like the first person I come across, have you heard of Graham Linehan? They would be like, please get away from me. I'm calling the police.
If they have heard of him, you'd get somebody would probably spit in your face. And
there might be one person who like has BBC America on cable who is like, you mean the Father Ted guy?
Why did he die?
Well, we are doing an episode of our podcast about him. Wouldn't it be so funny? You can cut this out if you want. Wouldn't it be so funny if he like died during the editing process and we had to meet again?
I don't even know that we would. I think I would just
add
put a little thing at the beginning of the video.
Epilogue.
I'd still release it with the fucking puppet and everything. I think I would tack on a little funeral scene where we remade the funeral scene in Death Becomes Her with the two of us and him in a little puppet coffin. Okay, so I need to find a 3D model of a child's coffin. Don't ask me why. Okay, so we're still back into his lowlights. His son once came into the room to give him a birthday present, but he was busy live streaming with a bunch of TERFs, complaining about how privileged the people they attack and denigrate are. And homeboy was like, "Not now, bitch, daddy's streaming."
Oh my God, it's literally that meme from The Sims where it's like the girl on the computer and her baby's on fire. Not now, honey. Daddy's being a transphobe. Daddy's doing some transphobia.
I sent you the link to the video.
The most kind of right-on show in the UK at the moment is Doctor Who, right? Sorry? Oh, yeah, that's good. My son chooses now to give me my present. He just holds up a book and he goes... that really will have destroyed what I was about to... Yeah, no, I know what I was... Okay, Doctor Who, the wokest show on TV.
Yeah, again, this just like makes me a little sad.
It's sad.
It's like you think that trans activists took your family from you, but you weren't paying attention to your family because you were so involved in this gender critical cult, and they left. They left because you never had time to spend with your family. Your son is trying to bring you a birthday gift.
Can you imagine? I would remember that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, he
that
was
is
sitting
a
in the other
core
room
moment.
for hours and was like, and eventually mom was like, why don't you just go get the thing now? Like, go tell him it's time to...
With the H3 podcast, which is old dead shows. Nobody remembers that one. Today we've got a great show planned, sponsored by
Eddie Fresh.
Nobody.
I guess the old sponsors remember the show.
Brought to you by... How's it go in PBS? They go, brought to you by generous donations from people like you.
Viewers like you.
Also, and then whenever they do that, they go, thanks to people like you. And also, thanks to Goldman Sachs. Like, you gotta pick a lane. You know what I mean? Brought to you by BlackRock and viewers like you.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Halliburton, BlackRock, and Facebook. And viewers like you. To generous donations. From the Mark Zuckerberg Foundation. I actually do hear that one a lot. His wife has a donation.
The Zuckerberg Foundation.
Yeah. And thanks to the Zuckerberg Foundation.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Love them. Yeah, this is from the new collection. If anyone's interested, teddyfresh.com. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And I wish y'all could see the zippers. It's a teddy bear, but... Oh, man,
I can't really see it, but I'm wearing the jacket as well.
Oh, shit. That jacket's nice, right?
Yeah.
You look good in it.
Thank you.
You look like Michigan as fuck.
Oh, hell yeah.
In the best way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. You know, my favorite artist, Kendrick Lamar, who it's no secret I'm a simp for. I'm sad to say that he's been absolutely decimated by the great, indomitable, impregnable, but always impregnating.
Good,
Drake. Of course, I'm being silly, but we'll get into all that. But yeah, I mean, Kendrick, what do you want to say? If you're a Drake fan, like, openly, before all this, it was, in my opinion, that being a Drake fan was a somewhat embarrassing thing to admit. Now, I like his music. He has some great hits. He's a good musician. He's a good, rapper, whatever. And he has some great hits. He's silly, he's goofy, but I think that's cool to embrace that side. At the same time, however, if you say, like, oh, my favorite artist is Drake, you can't say that. I feel like that's corny as fuck.
I would agree with you.
Like, it's just embarrassing. But now, after that, to actually be like, yeah, I'm a Drake fan. I mean, that's like excommunication type shit. You know what I mean? Like, Drake fans aren't allowed around these parts.
Kendrick's been winning all weekend.
He stays winning. And I've been watching all these reactors, picking everyone. Fantano's videos on it have been pretty funny. Like, the funniest reactions when Kendrick released his latest one, Not Like Us, and everyone was losing their fucking mind because he just called Drake a pedophile in it. And he's got this one great line where he goes, you're trying to strike a chord, but it's probably A minor. Yeah. And everybody's just losing their minds, dude. That song, in my opinion, it was over. But that song, I think, because that song not only is like the most aggressive towards his reputation, but it's a catch. It's like a pop. It's like one of the best songs he's put out in a while. And it's catchy as fuck. I've been seeing videos of people playing it in the club, you know what I mean? And also, we can play the song. Apparently, he's not claiming it. He's been letting all the reactors have fun with it and monetize, which is goated. So we can actually listen to both of their songs, frankly, except two of them, and read the lyrics. That's fun. Yeah.
I don't normally follow rap beats. I've followed.
Is Kendrick, what a fool. I mean, Drake, he for sure flew too close to the sun. Kendrick's the last person you want to get into a rap beef with. It's like, he's the most certified. He's the most certified. He's got like the most street cred. He is probably the best. Maybe the best of all time. Definitely the best contemporary rapper, genre
Go ahead. You truly are the Kendrick Lamar of music reviews here.
You are he transcends genre.
Spit it out.
He's not, you know what I mean? Nobody's on his level.
He says the word good.
Yep.
Come on, I'm not saying anything that dumb.
No, I know. I'm agreeing. He said the word good.
He says words good. The best of all time. Drake said definitely the best too, but not as good. Drake say word bad. Kendrick say word good. Thank you. It's Monday, you guys. What do you want from me?
What are you on? It's Monday.
Oh, you're giving up. Is this a large?
I don't mind. Someone asked Avery what's your jacket size.
I'm wearing mediums now, so. In my opinion, I think Kendrick's the best of all time. In my opinion, I'm a fan of lots of the OG rappers. I love Nas and I love Tupac and I love Biggie, and I love lots of the other ones. But I don't know. I feel like Kendrick has. First of all, tragically, Biggie and Tupac both died very young. So they, you know, they never had the opportunity to walk to such great heights. They accomplished a lot in the time that they were alive. However, Kendrick has had time to not just succeed, but to prove his chops. You know, he's still improving. He's still diversifying. You know, even the way he's singing his diss tracks. He's showing like a real fuck my brain. He's showing a real versatility.
Right. Yeah.
No, you said that.
And delivery.
I like how many times he told Drake to die.
Yeah.
You raised a horrible fucking human being who should die. Fuck a rap beef. You should die. Like.
Yeah. BBL Drizzy. What is that one? I saw someone talking about that. But I didn't know what that was. BBL? So someone put out a song called BBL Drizzy.
Oh, that was Metro Boomin.
Was it just a beat or was it a... Biggie was a predator? I've never heard that. I mean, I'm not saying that he wasn't. I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's a beat for fans to rap on.
Oh, okay. Please talk about the Drake Google Maps update. What's the update?
It's the cover art for Was It Not Like Us, which was Drake's house, and it had all the pedophile markers. Apparently, I saw a tweet that it's been updated to Kendrick's house.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like super fun.
Wait, who did that?
Someone just updated on Google Maps. It says 2024 Kendrick's house. I don't know. That's the tweet that. Yeah, that's a tweet that's going around. I don't know if that's what it actually says.
But he's also saying that pedophiles live in Kendrick's house, which is not exactly a compliment. You don't want that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I've been watching Academics. You know that? I mean, I like him. He's funny. He's good. His reactions have been super funny. Like when he was analyzing a Drake song, and he's like a Drake stan. He's the guy that goes Drake.
It's my top 5. It's Drake.
And then he fell asleep because he loves Drake so much. But this guy is like, I don't know how you can come out publicly and like stan Drake. I just find that bizarre, especially someone who, you know, is taken seriously in the hip hop community, which he is. I just find that bizarre. I don't know, but you know, what can I? I'm not, you know, I have no credentials, so. Ethan has a double hairline. No, I don't. Why? Because there's a little thing here. We need to fix this. Hold on, give me a sec. Go ahead, Zach, with the... Yeah. Give me some... Is it better? It won't go away.
Totally fine. I don't know what you're...
It's split like the red.
Like you have a little part in your hair?
Oh god, it looks worse. Oh, that...
You want some water?
You can put your hood up if you want, or a hat. You want a hat?
Bullets because I had hair. I'm growing my hair back, people.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit. Oh, it's great.
It had the appearance of a thick mat of hair.
What's going on?
I got that kind of Dennis the Menace swag, or whatever. Fuck, dude. All right, I got a devil hairline. That's just what it is. What is this? You see that?
Cowlick or something?
That's Drake's curse right there.
I got the Drizzy. The curse of Drizzy. All right, can you...
I'm on it.
Yeah, can somebody help me? Somebody, come, you know what I mean? Help.
Just dip your fingers in the water.
I added water, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Just do this.
All the king's horses and all the king's men. There's flurry. The whole office is buzzing.
Don't worry, Ethan. Don't worry, Ethan. I got you. I'm ordering something for it right now.
I heard that stuff's good.
Rogaine?
Yeah, let me just...
Well, I gotta
just
see
get
myself.
you set up here.
Let me see myself then before we start ordering the Rogaine.
Because I had...
Okay, do a full screen. Oh, that looks better.
Yeah, you're good.
You know what I mean? Don't be talking about my double hairline, you scumbag. Shame on you. How dare you? Oh, that looks good.
That looks great.
All right, enough. Enough. Oh, that was clean right there. Oh, yes. That was clean. Anyway, where were we? I know that's how I feel right now. Thank you, Grimes, for voicing the voice of the oppressed. Anyway, we'll get into all that stuff, but yeah, you know how I feel about all that. By the way, if you want to come to the live show, I haven't checked. I know there's probably some left, but I don't know how many. Let's see. They're going. There's a few, what looks to be maybe like...
Yeah.
That's crazy, guys.
300 left.
We did it.
I ran into a few people at the Renaissance Fair who are coming to the show.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
It's nice. It's
You have fun at the Ren Fair?
Yeah, of course. Renaissance Fair is crazy, dude. I love it there. Although I have to say, I got the lunch I got was dogs. Doo-doo, straight doo-doo.
Call them out. Call them out.
Lunchtime. I will. So usually the food there's good, and I'll tell you, there's a huge dining area with lots of different choices. Some of them have lines that are so long.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not doing this. And then there's ones with shorter lines. It turns out the ones with shorter lines are not good.
Right, that's why.
So I went to this, it was like a barbecue sandwich thing, and it was straight up like hamburger helper. I don't know, it was nasty.
Oof.
And I waited in line, and I gave him it was $50 what I bought. Damn. And I gave him 100, and she's like, okay, I gotta wait for my boss to come break 100. I can't do that. So the food, I'm standing there long enough that the food comes out to me. It's sitting there and it's getting cold, and she's just ignoring me. And I says, can I just get my change? And she goes, yeah, no, I gotta wait for my boss. I said, well, do you know when they're gonna be here? And she says, no, I don't. I says, okay, well, we're having a little bit of an issue then. So she like calls her manager, and they come. I was standing there for like a good 10 minutes as my food expired.
Huh.
Waiting for my change. And the meal was $50. It wasn't like I gave her 1,000. I made as a $100 bill that big of a deal anymore.
For you and Hila or something? Or is that just one meal?
What are you accusing me of? No, I'm kidding. It was for the whole family. It was me, Hila, and the boys.
Okay, got it.
50.
Yeah. I mean, like, damn, Ethan, fat ass.
Well, I've seen what you eat at Denny's, so.
I've never been to Denny's, actually. And I'm a skinny legend. But yeah, the barbecue sandwich place was doo-doo, straight dog duties. So don't eat there. But all around It was a great event. Like I said last year, the vibes are immaculate. Actually, I'm gonna send you a video I want to show. It's so cute. There's this
You gotta get an outfit for y'all.
I was wearing my Shrek Crocs. Those are fantasy.
You're right.
Fresh cock. I was wearing my Shrek Crocs. Let me send this to Dan. You can pull it up. The boys, there's this bungee jumping thing that's a little scary because it's pretty serious. And the boys wanted to do it. The minimum weight, I didn't think Bruce would be able to. The minimum weight was 20 pounds. He's exactly 20 pounds. So he's this tiny little thing.
Oh, launch him.
Getting launched everywhere. I sent you the video.
Okay, one sec.
It was so funny.
Boy, this looks cute already.
Here's Brucey as the human slingshot.
Oh my god.
He's so funny.
He's so little.
Brucey's pretty brave, so I could see that he wasn't really doing anything with him too much, and I told him to bounce him higher. When he got off, he started crying because he wanted to go again. Yeah.
Look at Bruce. That's so cute. Just like in the olden medieval days.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I got in closer. He's smiling. There you go. His tummy's out. And he's just smiling.
That looks fun.
It is, yeah. It's super cool there. It's and also it was like
that, Teddy?
And it was a perfect day. It was like cool, overcast.
Nice.
It's a great day.
That's what you want.
It's a great day. Also want to give a shout out. There's somebody there, this guy who makes toys with a 3D printer, and they are so fucking cool. And I bought one last year for the boys, and it's not broken, which is incredible. They're so durable and so cool. I'm gonna give a shout out to him. Definitely check out his booth if you go there. All right. Oh yeah, I actually met, and I want to apologize to this fan who wanted a photo with us. And I want to tell you, first of all, she said, best day ever. Thank you. That's so nice of you. I was so starstruck. They're so nice, and he was so much more beautiful in person. It was crazy to hear Ethan's voice in real life. Still trying to process it. Also wanted to ask for a hey girly, but had a brain fart moment here if you're watching. But I want to apologize for this picture. I was in my mind smiling. I was doing a big, bright smile for her in my mind.
Like a baby just learning to smile for photos.
I don't know what happened there. Maybe there was a sunny, or maybe there was
I'm being told that's his actual face. I'm so sorry.
Maybe it was in between. I don't know. I'm sorry about that. You deserved better. Somebody was like, wow, his leg got all scratched up. What happened?
Get it off of me!
So, anyway, nice to see you. Nice to see all the fans out there.
I don't want your elephant on my face!
Anyway, you guys went to the Ren Fair, right, Dan? You already went?
I went a couple weekends ago, yeah. Yeah, we had a good time.
You gonna go back before they leave? Or you one time?
This year? Probably not. I usually go once a year. It's been tradition for a long while now.
It's the same as it was last year.
It usually is, yeah. But I'm slowly, every time I go, I try and accumulate more for my costume, so I've been slowly building it up over the years, but I didn't find anything good this year. That struck me.
It's a shame.
That didn't cost $1,200 or something. A lot of it's really fun.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I didn't make it through the whole thing. It's quite big. And we didn't make it past the bungee spot. I know there's a lot after that.
There's beach more after that, yeah.
Boing.
Yeah, the kids do the zip line. We were actually, I guess you might have not seen it this year because you didn't get there, but near the very end of the Ren Fair, they have set up like a zip line thing where you climb up like a ladder, and there's a big line that goes down. And every time I see it, it's the most like carnival ride. Like this thing is about to collapse any second now.
I haven't seen it. I remember that.
You remember the zip line? It's where the jousting is. It's like right next to it. That general area.
So did anyone die on it?
Not that I'm aware of, but it's coming.
The safety protocols there seem pretty lax, I'll be honest. So here's what I'm smiling in. Met Ethan Yale at the Ren Fair today. Shout out to this super nice guy. I was absolutely speechless to see my only form of entertainment in person today. Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being so cool. Love you guys. P.S. The whistle go whoop whoop. See, here's the smile. This is what I thought I looked like. Although that's not great either. I'm trying. I don't know. I'm trying.
Sure.
It's that whoop. I'm happy. Here's the thing. I am happy to see you, and I am genuinely trying to smile.
This one isn't as bad.
No, this one's definitely not as bad, but
the contrast with the eel is great though. It just like effortlessly looks so nice.
Yeah, yeah. Also, my hand looks tiny, which is stupid. It's just the angle. Obviously, my fingers are
just an angle.
Well, it's like this, clearly.
Right. Yeah.
My hand is bigger than Elo's. I can tell you that for sure.
I mean, maybe.
It is. I've measured.
Well, it's interesting because your hand is closer to the camera than hers, so you'd think it would actually.
No, it's not.
Hand.
It's bending. It's not. It's bending down to stay angle, man. This dude even told me, like, dude, your hands are pretty big in person.
Oh, did he say that?
I said, thanks, man. That's what I've been saying.
Looks like moist.
Nice. Yeah, moist.
That's one small hand. Shut the fuck up, Zach. One small hand. Why would you do that? Why?
It's my job to create shit like that. So.
No.
Offense taken. Give me no offense. This was quite funny. In Greece, I don't know what this is, a traditional pot smashing ceremony. It's definitely a real thing because there's lots of media and people taking photos. Is this like a Groundhog Day type of thing? Maybe? I don't know.
For Easter, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they drop a pot out the window and the crowd goes wild. But these tourists, I'm surprised they didn't know rope off or anyone to stop them, but check it out. How the fuck was that so perfect?
Dude, the way the guy shoves it looks intentional. Did you look at the dude up there?
I don't think he saw him.
He instantly just pushes it out as they come.
It was like just the timing was nuts.
So people take pieces home for good luck. So I don't know what this means.
She'll be taking some home in her hair.
Yeah.
I love the people in the window. The guy like runs away from the window.
Oh, he bolted? Let me watch.
He's like, oh shit,
wasn't me.
Yeah.
He didn't want to stick around.
Yeah, man.
No. Yeah, I wonder if people tried to stop them and they're like, don't touch me.
Well, how do they? There's a giant crowd of people with their cameras trained.
So wait, this lady was actually covering her head.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened? Someone must have been like, watch out. So she's like, what's happening?
Oh, I see what's happening. They thought it was just the first one in the left window. Hurry by.
Oh, there's several pops.
Yeah, but then they get ambushed by the second one.
The second one was bigger too, boy.
Yeah.
That was a nice sized vase right there. Pop.
It looks like a power-up almost. Like in the game.
That thing really shattered. Anyway, pretty funny. Yeah, unfortunately, she did die later of the injuries, so not as funny, but she has 5 kids, and their dad passed away from cancer too the year before. That's all made up. Sorry about that. She's fine. Not sure what the joke was, but shame on you for laughing. Cav updates? Okay, Zach. Getting a little hard on me today, don't you think?
I like your dark aura today.
Hit me with the crickets, about to power me up.
Do you have a Ringo-like aura?
You got your very Ringo Star today.
Ringo Star coded.
Dark aura 69. Beatles.
This is a serious message. With peace and love. Any rappers in a feud who are named Drake are being tossed in the bins of history. This is a serious message. Drake is a pedophile.
I'm warning you that peace and love.
Allegedly,
in his opinion.
In Kendrick's opinion, I believe you like. The tradition of the island of Greece's northwest coast marks the resurrection of Jesus Christ and the death of a tourist, and is believed to help ward off bad spirits. I guess she's a bad spirit. Specters take pieces.
The angels threw her down.
Mayor just threw her down. Make sure she wasn't getting back up.
Exercised her.
I think the angels threw her down and made sure she was not coming back.
Do you know, can we look for a follow-up? Like, has his dad been on the show?
Is she still dead?
I've been looking. I've been keeping my ass up.
I want to know more.
What's the name? Atwood?
Yeah,
Roman Atwood's dad murdered his mom.
Allegedly, maybe.
The thing is, we kind of... Well, no, I don't want to say it, but I think I found it. I found... Because I was watching their podcast. So I think we're the only one that talks about it.
So I think I saw it on TikTok. That's what launched us into this.
Really?
I saw it on TikTok, and then we went more in depth.
Right.
And watched the whole thing. Like the angels on the body shit was not in the TikTok. Like that was just right. That just blew our minds when we were watching. TikTok says they're not selling, by the way.
TikTok is my home.
I don't know if they're being honest, but they say
TikTok is not going anywhere.
we are not selling. I don't know if you got much of a choice, Bucko.
He actually stopped his podcast 10 months ago. He doesn't post anymore.
Dude, I wonder if it's related to his dad being fucking outed as a murderer.
Wasn't that video really old?
Yeah, no, it was super old.
It wasn't even like...
Wasn't that old? I thought it was somewhat recent.
I thought we had like resurfaced it. Yeah. I could be wrong. No, that's maybe I'm misremembering.
What was their last episode? Did they announce they're leaving, or was it just kind of see you later?
No, she fell on a scooter.
Nothing, just post.
Let's see. Last episode of the Roman Atwood podcast, True Detectives, was 9 months ago with Mick Juggernuggers.
For sure.
Mick Jugger? I don't know why.
Nuggets.
Oh, if you go back 4 podcasts back, remember he was talking about Chris from Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
He had all those fucking weird takes, right?
Oh, that's okay. That's where we started talking about him.
Yeah, but I think the interview with the dad was from years ago. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, no, it was sold.
2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022.
Oh, okay. He had Tony Hawk, the fuck? And nobody watched it. Do people not care about Tony Hawk?
I mean...
Tony the Hawk?
What more does he have to say?
I guess. He's like, yeah. No, Tony Hawk skateboarding video games were a big deal. How much money did you make from that? We made a lot of money. Cool.
So you spun around 4 times.
You did that? Yeah, man. 1080.
Sick.
What do you think of knee pads?
Knee pads are great. I believe in protection. I was talking to a skateboarder once, and he said like deep culture skateboarders all hate Tony Hawk because they think he's like a monster sellout that ruined the sport by like making it mainstream. And
what? That seems silly.
He like sold out big time. That's what they all say about him, apparently, according to this guy.
Who are these hooligan skateboarders that you're interacting with?
I'm telling you, I don't remember. Yeah, he was a friend. Oh, I remember. I went to see Christina's show, and he was one of her friends. We went out to get drinks afterwards.
Tony Hawk?
It was Tony Hawk. He said everybody hates him. It was sad. It was quite sad.
Damn. You hate to see that. I think he's a legend. Come on. Everybody loves Tony. It's Tony.
Well, go to the chat. Watch.
We all love Tony.
For real though, go to
Tony.
Look at the skateboard heads in chat.
Hey, skaters.
Everybody's
skater
saying
boys.
put some respect on Mr. Hawk.
Yeah, it's not easy being king. Ask him or Drake. You know, people come for you.
Hey.
No,
or MJ, the king of pop. You know?
Somebody
king of pop, exactly. The more famous.
Kelly, the king of R&B.
Some people are saying this is true. A lot of people are saying that's jealous. I get that feeling too. He made it out big time where a lot of the other contemporaries just probably, you know, couldn't even retire off their career.
It's like it's mostly Tony support here in the...
He does seem like a nice, sweet, generous, genuine guy though, honestly.
I think you just came across a jealous hater, to be frank.
I think there is a lot of jealousy in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Tony Hawk is the Drake of skateboarding. Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting comment.
It's funny the way you just described Tony is like my best friend who's really into hip hop. Like he knows more than anyone. I talked to him this morning about the beef, and he was Team Kendrick, but he did say basically what you said, that everyone's coming at him and blames him for taking hip hop more mainstream.
Who?
Drake.
Yeah. Well, because, there's a lot. Listen, there's like a lot of race stuff going on that obviously I'm not really equipped to talk about. He's half white, and he's from a suburb in Montreal. So a lot of the West Coast rappers, and in his songs he sings about how he's like a real G, and he's like the real N-word. One of those words I remember he said, "I'm gonna get real N-word on my forehead." And tatted on my face.
He's from Toronto, not
Toronto. Yeah, not Quebec. Sorry.
He's a Jewish icon.
And so the Jews been through a lot. We don't need him anymore. Been through enough. So I think a lot of the West Coast guys or people in hip hop in general look at him as kind of a phony in that regard.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the problem is them being in the space. It's more like him acting like he's a gangster. When people like Kendrick grew up in Compton, in the projects, and it's just the culture is just different to them, you know?
He's said that himself in songs where he's like, I didn't grow there, but there's people that I know there, and like talking about going to the hood on the weekends or whatever, which is...
That's so corny. Yeah. Like he was doing like hood tourism, you know. I always found the whole like, I don't know, I'm just a white dude, so I can't really speak on it. I'm just trying to give my understanding of some of that resentment.
True, Roseanne.
Which I can actually, I can understand where they're coming from with the like, he's pretending to be a gangster and he doesn't know anything about like growing up the way we grew up. I get that. He is not from the streets, no. Apparently he's from a rich family, I think, in Toronto. So, which is fine, you know what I mean? He grew up on the mean streets of Degrassi. I mean, yeah, he was a child actor, which is not an easy beat, to be clear. We've seen what that does to people and shit. It makes people like Drake text with Millie Bobby Brown, you know what I mean? Just actor. I saw somebody else say this. Nardwuar, or it's got to be in Kendrick's DM. Drake's the type of dude that twiddles his fingers while picking a Timbit. I don't know what Timbit is.
Timbit is Tim Hortons donut.
Carrie's. Oh, got it. Carrie says Drake grew up in Forest Hill, which is a rich neighborhood in Toronto. So there you go. And Toronto's super expensive too, right? I mean, so.
Yeah, but he was raised by a single mother.
He was?
Yeah, well, that's...
I'm reading he's quoted saying that even though he grew up in a wealthy neighborhood, his mother didn't have much money.
Okay. So, I mean, again, it's not Compton, you know what I mean? It's not like growing up in a project. I don't know anything about him, though. But apparently Kendrick says he's a colonizer. Dude, that shit was just ruinous, man. He LARPs and mostly just leaches vibes from artists with actual experience. That's another thing Kendrick called him out for. Drake grew up with an in-ground pool. Big if true.
I need the max win.
Honestly, big if true.
That's the dividing line.
Yeah. All right, let's get there organically, shall we? Cav is a allegedly, officially.
This one rules. This is so funny.
When Dan likes the Cav tea, you know it's good.
Nah, you know, I'm probably the most into the Cav stuff of anybody.
These
here.
balls. Well, okay.
I'm fully in on the Cav lore.
Yeah, no, I'm in as well.
I feel like you've checked me at times like, dude, we've talked about.
Well, maybe, 2 hours into talking about him, I've said move on, but nah. I love commenting on this man.
Let's take a look. As you guys know, his podcast is not doing great. In fact, it had, I think, less than 100 views after 24 hours. So here's comments on his most recent one. Is Kev advertising podcasts on anime piracy sites? The comments are, I was just trying to watch Bleach. I was just trying to download a video. I'm just trying to read manga, goddamn. Fun fact, when you click around on a pirating site, the ad leads you to videos that are paid for people to be directed there. I mean, obviously. Reported. Bro, let me watch anime weird-ass podcasts. I don't even think these people are, they don't even know who we are.
No, I don't. You're gonna lose because this is its own thing.
Wait, this is so funny.
What are they even yapping about? I'm just trying to watch anime. So, that's like, and by the way, so what they're talking about is media buying, which I've done a bit of when I was in marketing, and it's like the shittiest tier dog shit, spam, shotgun at the wall, marketing you can imagine. Like, you just bulk buy pop-ups on, and it's all like pirating sites, anime sites, porn sites. It's like bottom of the barrel. Whoever's buying these for him is just straight finessing him, as the kids might say about it.
Very much against TOS too.
I just opened his latest episode to find some of these comments myself, and though I'm not necessarily seeing those at the top, the ones that I am seeing here. Let's see.
I have some good ones.
Thank you for being there for me. Have a very good day. Awesome. Another podcast. Oh, no. See, it's a mix of such notification, many playfulness, so wonderful. You make me want to be a better person. Breathtaking, magnificent, outstanding.
I love absolutely the top video of today. There's so many.
Where are you guys seeing that, under new?
Yeah, it's by new.
Thank you for inspiring me to better.
5 days later, and it still says Dwayne Johnson.
Literally outstanding. These are all within like
you are a
5
great,
hours ago.
Look at this shit. You are a great example for others.
Thank you.
Unbelievable work.
Thank you.
Bro, you are such a joke. Why are you even doing this? Just go.
Like, hey, suck D's balls.
Okay, if you want my advice, just stop doing all of it. Like, you would be bet. Just stop.
There's one comment that just says paradise.
This is paradise.
Paradise.
We've made it real. Fantastic. Your videos just keep getting better and better. All my favorites.
This is dynamite.
This is dynamite. Absolutely the top video of today. This is Pleasant Time and your pleasant video. Best.
Thanks, Maddine.
So excited for this video. I'm grateful to know you. Cool video.
Oh, maybe that is a friend.
Your weekend shares are honestly my favorite. I look forward to them.
Thanks, Dan.
Came out during the week.
Bello. Bello.
Bello, looking good. My heart melt. Bello, looking good. My heart melt.
Bello, where you been looking?
Absolutely stunning.
Misspelling hello on a bot comment is
splendid. Oh, this is, we've seen this exact comment before. So excited for this video. This is just bizarre. It's actually so transparent and so pathetic. I mean, what are you doing, man?
Super high.
Super.
Hello, Fab.
Oh, I'm paradise.
That's crazy. What the fuck?
I'm deep down enough where they're starting to repeat. I just got my second paradise. And there's 3 of them that say, on a scale from 1 to 10, you're an 11.
That's sweet.
Amazing.
So I don't know if he actually believes it, but he said before that he believes that we're buying views and comments.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he...
all projection. It's so...
Is this what he thinks I'm doing?
Sorry. He's just jealous that you have access to the really good bot farms where they all seem like actual fans that are engaging with the content. Maybe you could settle the lawsuit that way. You share him your secret bot farm.
I keep trying to tell him that. I got secrets, I got advice. There's a lot of these. This is a video which deserves congenial? The fuck does that mean? Breathtaking, magnificent, outstanding.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on Cavcos. So shout out to the anime.
Shout out.
Anime pirates.
Hello to all of you.
.eg or whatever.
Hello.
You'll get there, Kev. Buying more pop-ups on Pirate Bay is going to get you the fans you deserve.
Yeah, no, that's a good move.
Absolutely. Here's a funny little goof. Sakuno.
Saikuno.
Saikuno. He was a Twitch streamer that we made some subtle jabs, friendly jabs at, because he
ribbing, if you will.
Yes, because he left Twitch to go to YouTube, and it's not that. A lot of people have done that. It's just the announcement he made was so over the top. Here, check it out. Just a reminder. Saikuno.
Years ago now.
Dude, you're not going to the moon, man. This is like the beginning of like Rocket Man. Like he's moving to Mars.
This is where it all started.
Moon's going to the moon,
In a tiny shed in my parents' backyard.
You're not even moving. You're still in your same ass room. You just changed the stream key.
I never planned on becoming a streamer. I just wanted to play some games and make some friends.
I just wanted to play some games.
Wanted to play some games.
And I did.
That's the game. Powering up.
I started off playing League. Then Minecraft.
Yo!
Valorant.
See this lobster?
Among Us.
What do you mean, let's go, boys?
GTA.
You know you have 24 hours.
I met some cool people and made some really good friends.
The way he lists the name of the games just was weird.
It's very odd.
I just didn't like that. You know?
Play Minecraft.
It's like, yeah, I mean, you and a billion people.
He's pretty good at it, though.
I was one of the Minecraft players.
Yeah.
But, okay. Again, what the fuck do I know?
And I met all of you guys.
Psych. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, one sec.
I just can't fathom being this dramatic about changing your stream key. That's
right. That's ultimately all it really is.
That's it.
You're pushing your data to a different server.
You copy pasted a new.
I'm gonna do what I've always done.
Line
just
of
in a new place.
Characters.
Right.
Sick.
So he seems like a nice guy.
He's such a nice guy. A common phenomenon that I keep like running into working on the show is we'll talk shit about someone, then I meet them. Me and Lena and Cam went to an escape room with some other streamers, and he was there. He was a really nice guy.
So I don't think we were talking shit about him. He's a nice guy. I like him. There's no reason to dislike him.
I doubt he had anything to do with the creation of that video too. That was some like YouTube.
That I doubt. Come on, they're not going to just make.
It was a sweet video.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
And I'm not. It wasn't bad. It was just to my taste.
Silly.
As a taste maker.
Yeah. Right.
As a mover of culture. I thought it was a little bit silly and over the top. That's all. That being said,
did we make a parody sketch of it or something too?
Yeah. Oh shit.
No way.
Did we not? I remembered this when I saw this update.
Oh, pull that up.
I can't recall if we just planned on doing one or if we actually followed through and did it. But
oh, Ian says we did.
Okay, let's find it then.
God damn, we've done so much stuff over the years. It's a shame.
It's hard to keep track of sometimes.
We really got to work on.
Ethan announced
some kind of organizing.
The enemy comes to us. Eliminate them.
Yeah, we need to have some kind of playlist of sketches. Yeah,
I agree.
The biggest announcement. Yeah, I think you like clickbaited. You're going to a new place. It was just you saying you're still going to be on YouTube, just like you were before.
Also, like, if you go to his video, everybody loved it. It's got massive upvotes, lots of views, lots of support. It's my job, okay? As Joe Rogan says, we are the last line of defense. So us comedians.
Yeah, we say in the comedy world, we say we're the last line of defense.
This is where the woke meets the wall.
Meets the wall. The woke meets the wall with stand-up comedy.
And so, in the spirit of Joe Rogan, it's my job to look at these types of situations and say, I have a different perspective. That's why people pay me the big dollars.
Different perspective.
Nobody pays me, actually. Just a bunch of ads on YouTube, mostly. Oh, no, a lot of you guys pay me, actually. A lot of you guys do. Thank you for that, by the way.